the great classics of the West and the East. Have you read even Bhagavad Gita and the Chinese epics, Romance of the Three Kingdoms? You wouldn't have a chance to do that. But you think here you want to do it, you can always do something. Nasib will put you in prison and you can read. Now, of course, that's not an option. So please take this seriously. Yes, you need the facilities. We will provide. Yes, the university, unfortunately, I remember coming here in 2018 after a hiatus of more than 2 decades. As you know, I was not able to speak to you the last 2 decades. As you may not know that I was able to teach at Georgetown, give a lecture to Harvard, or lecture at St. Anthony's, Oxford University. I cannot enter any of the local universities. It's okay. It's the past. But now, then after, it's true, Osman lamented what he believed, what needs to be done immediately, and I agree. So I think we have approved actually about 30 over million ringgit just for this sort of a facility for the university. You never clap until the money comes. Okay. Now, so back to the fundamental issue about assimilation knowledge. That's why when we talk about an intellectual, many claim to be elitist intellectuals. But sometimes we have a problem. Why this university in the first place? Osman made reference to my first letter to the then Prime Minister, I think about, Deputy Prime Minister or the Director in those days, there was a period of emergency and National Emergency Council to Razak, I think probably 1971. I wrote a letter as president of the Islamic students body, to say we should set up an Islamic university. Of course, I was not able to articulate the vision as well as I can do now. But I thought Islam is not a belief, and the concept of education is not really confined to some rituals, some very traditional conservative views. I thought Islam must be also, other than the rituals of Salah and the Zakat, is also to promote peace and justice and understanding of humanity. Not to sow the seed of discord and differences. You see in the Muslim world, we talk about here, Malaysia is 60%. It's a majority Muslim country. Islam is the religion of the Federation. But we have more than 40% non-Muslims. We have to deal with them. You want me to be a hero by just abusing the non-Muslims? Yes, I'll be a hero among the Muslims. As many of my friends in the opposition does. But is it the right thing to do? First, is it an Islamic thing to do? Why do you have Rahmatan lil Alameen? When you propagate hatred, racism, fascism, and discord. So you must remember, you may be an Islamic university, but here the Islamic university is to promote the true understanding of Islam. Not so hatred for the others. It's understanding. It's lita'arafu. Appreciation. And after knowing one another. That is what we mean assimilation of knowledge. Don't just assume. And I must remind some of the lecturers, of course, you come from a different society. So much the civil war and hatred and discord. But it's like you are dealing with a different environment. We don't want that discord. So I must remind, why we welcome all. You are here to present to me an opportunity to promote the right understanding of the religion. Because otherwise, you have the ISIS and the Al-Qaeda, which is of course not a service to Islam. They're doing this service because the West understand Islam from the axis of evil. Remember the famous Prophet the Bush view after 9/11. First, Reagan for axis of evil of the communism, the Soviet Union. Then you have an axis of evil of the so-called extremist Islam, which forms a small minority. Now I want to stress this point because we also have the problem of internal dynamics within the Muslim community. Mona is here, daughter of our great friend, Ibrahim Abu Sulaiman, who I persuaded here to come here as rector of the university and had immense contribution to the setting up of the university. After bitter quarrels with me, I was Minister of Finance, and he just said, you want an international Islamic university or you want a village university? I said, yes, Ya Akhi, but we need the funds. I said, why are you finance minister for? This Saudi is a tough guy. I said, I have been the Minister of Finance for the whole country, not for the Islamic University alone. But I must really thank him. May Allah bless his soul. Because for his continued harassment, because he believed in the cause. And you want to have a university, then better be a center of excellence. You want to have a university, Islamic University, according to Abdul Hamid, it is not just any university. The curriculum, the message, the graduates you produce must be different. More knowledgeable, more articulate, more tolerant, more wise. And not having this problem, hangover of the extreme views, intolerant, and preaching hatred. I have this problem too. Of course, not too many, fortunately, alhamdulillah, but you have the time. You have the freedom to use the social media. What do? Abuse, full of deceit, full of hatred, in the name of Islam or the Malays. I'm a Malay, I'm a proud Malay. I value the cultural heritage of the Malays and the Malacca Sultanate. But I thought the Malays have this beautiful cultural views in terms of tolerance, accommodation, accommodating other views, respecting differences. Not racism, it's not one. Even in the height of the Malacca Sultanate, you have great brotherly engagement with the Chinese. That we can have a Bukit China in the Malay world. Can you imagine? During the Malacca Sultanate, you have a Chinese hill that you don't name, no resentment. Can you imagine? Prime Minister Anwar now announced that part of Goa can be called Bukit China. Mampus aku. You see, there's a difference. So you must realize that when I talk about assimilation of knowledge, you must be able to understand the comprehensiveness of the knowledge. Right? Now I will end shortly, so allow you for time for questions. No, we still have a lot of time.